Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy on this Sunday, May 2nd. Oh, boy. It's been a little bit of a weekend. It's been a weekend of revelations and understanding and sadness and happiness and all of the things. And just kind of want to spend some time today talking about how weird this transition is back into life that every single one of us is going through. And collectively, I've just never lived through a time in my 30 years before, and I wonder if you guys, there are people who have lived through collectively insane times, like, when I talk to my grandparents, they're talking about World War II and where the country and the world is in shambles. But I've personally never lived through a time before in which e everyone seems to not be okay, and it's so wild because people who have never been depressed before are depressed, and people who are normally uh just themselves are awkward and figuring out a way to get back into real life and deal with the collective trauma that we all just have gone through and are continuing to go through is awkward and depressing and fucking weird. And that doesn't mean that there's not moments of levity and happiness and joy and all of that, but this is for sure the most depressing, strange time I've ever lived through. And I think the same for a lot of you guys. So just kind of going over that and what we can do to help that and what we are finding is the best way to deal with that and handle that and continue to push on and live and get back to, or not get back. I don't even like the phrase get back to life, because in life, you never should be trying to get back to anything. You should be trying to move forward. And so, what is the best way to move forward? And how are you guys finding this time to be? Because I don't think I'm the only one who's sensing this and feeling this. And it is so hard to exist right now. It's fucking hard to exist right now. It's bizarre and weird. And, I went this weekend. I went on Thursday night. I went out with my cousin was in town. And so we went out. And then on Friday night, I went out with a girlfriend and we got dinner. And then on Saturday, I went out all day and then into the night. And I was like, what? I just observed and noticed and felt such a range of strange feelings. It's the first time I've done that, where all weekend I was out. And I don't mean out like raging face, although part of the time I was. I mean out just like literally I was not home. And it was so bizarre to be gone, to be fully vaxxed with all people who are fully vaxxed out in public and places that it's like, wow, this is really, really wild. This is really wild how everybody, people who are trying to acclimate into life again, we're all depressed and awkward. And it's so apparent. And so, yeah, I really want to talk about that today. Plus, whatever it is you guys want to talk about. I also wanted to mention that it is Jewish Heritage Month. I am saying that because of a couple of different things. I want to concentrate on that this month and do some stuff with that because, as you guys know, I am Jewish, and also not many people talk about being Jewish, but it's also Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and that is something that deserves to be celebrated, and we're going to talk about it on the World Goals tonight. We're doing a whole episode based on Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and talking about our favorite characters that are Asian American and Pacific Islanders. And I'm so fucking excited that we're doing that. And I saw that AAPI is trending on Twitter, and Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month is trending all over the place. And I haven't seen anybody talk about how it is Jewish Heritage Month. So I did want to make sure that I mentioned that and talk about that is also in May. And both things exist simultaneously. And so I hope that we're able to celebrate both things and both groups of people during this month. Especially as there's just, and I can't keep emphasizing this enough, so fucking few Jews left. There's just so few of us that I feel like I have to talk about this all the time. So mentioning that and talking about the random, not random. I just got a text that popped up and it said the word random. So I said random twice. Does that ever happen to you guys where you're in the middle of a sentence and then you read something and then you just fucking read whatever it is that you see, you say instead of what it was you were going to think you were going to say? Whatever, random. I hope that we have discussions about Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage and Jewish Heritage Month, and that both those things are relevant this month on this show and that we can continue to talk about those things here. So that also did want to mention at some point in the conversation today, which we will talk about later on in the show, that Tory Lanez and Chris Brown are teaming up for a joint album, which actually made me spit out my water. Okay, let's be honest, it was tea. This morning when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? I have thoughts. We will get to those. All that and more today live at the Roxy. Thank you guys for joining me on this sure to be depressing and awkward show, but also maybe it will be a few other things as well. Let's see what you guys are saying. Starting with you guys in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer. If you can give your support in that kind of way, then I really appreciate it. It will ensure that I continue to do this show as often as possible. Things have been light AF recently, so your girl is on the job hunt. But I am going to try to be here as much as I humanly can, and you guys make that possible, so thank you for being you. Between last show and this show, we got a message in the Streamlabs from Patrick Banham, who said, "Hi, Roxy. I just wanted to say thank you for all the content you provided to help me get through working from home this past year. I've just been promoted at work and start next week. Friday was a very sad day saying goodbye to colleagues." Well, that's amazing that you got promoted, though, and that you start next week. How come you have to say goodbye to your colleagues if you're promoted? Are you not going to be working with them anymore? Promoted, I would think, is at the same job. Maybe it's different office or something. I'm so glad that we've been able to help to get you through this time. And I really appreciate you sending that support. And thank you to Patrick. Glenn Caesar says, Miles Cosgrove, Brett Hankinson, Jonathan McInerney, arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, all three of them for killing Breonna Taylor. Hope today is the day. Justice for all the people who've lost their lives due to excessive force. # say their names. Yup. Going to continue to say that here on the show, and absolutely. And thank you, Jake Yakavetta, my mod, for putting the Streamlabs link in the chat. Also, super chats work as well, but YouTube takes that 55%, which is egregious. So preferably streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer, but still appreciate the super chats as well. Speaking of super chats, Marion McClellan says, "Are you going to watch Legends tonight?" Wow, is Legends of Tomorrow back on tonight? And it's on Sundays? I don't even remember it being a Sunday show. I didn't even know it was coming back. That's how far out of it I am. I don't know. I'm going to do the World Girls tonight for sure. And then priority-wise, I'm for sure going to watch Pose, because Pose comes back tonight. And Pose is for sure the fucking best. I love that show. Pose is so, so good. If you don't watch, it's on FX, and it is so worth your time. It is a really excellent show, and there's no other show like it on TV. I love Legends, too, though. You guys know I love Legends of Tomorrow, so I probably should. Glenn says it's back, and so is Supergirl. Well, Supergirl has been back. I've been watching Supergirl, but I didn't know that, Supergirl's been back. Is Legends been back also? Because my bad. Totally missed it. Glenn also says, hello, good afternoon. Roxy rocks, RD Skittles, Chunk, GPS, Misdirection, Silver the Alpzilla, Queen Badges, Dimples, Rocks Ortiz, Schmodown, Modi, well wishes, and thanks for hanging out. Love to you, Grammy and Popo. Peace, bunnies, hugs, and good stuff to you and yours. Thanks, Glenn. I think my uncle is coming this week from New Jersey to stay with Grammy and Popo, which makes me so happy for multiple different reasons. Number one, because I love my uncle. He's fucking great. And I love when he comes out here, and I don't get to see him that often. So it's always really exciting when he is out here. Number two, it does take a little pressure off of me, because you guys know last month there were 6 times that I had to go there between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. and it was nuts. And so it will be really nice to be able to kind of sleep easy at night knowing that he's there and helping, and that it's not just all on me. So I'm really, really excited for him to come out for that reason. And then also because I think that he'll be able to get their spirits in a good place. It's always really nice for my Popo to have his son there who, just because Popo does have such severe dementia, when his son is there, it always brings such levity and light to the situation. And his son really takes the time. My uncle really takes the time to sit and talk to him and all of that stuff. So I really, really appreciate that. And it's just helpful because then Grammy can leave the house more and somebody can be there with Popo. So anyway, that was a whole tangent, but I'm really excited that my uncle is coming this next week. Just thought I would share that with you guys. Glenn also says, RJ and everyone who shows up and gives their support whenever, however they can, when it gets tough, even be by yourself. You are not alone. Everyone who's battling, keep on fighting. You're a winner. You're kind. You're smart. You're unique. Showing up for people who need it and want it makes you dope AF. Being so unselfishly loving and supportive of others, including strangers, whether it's on the internet or not, makes you humane and worthy. Your story is important. It deserves to be seen and heard. This is more for me. but hopefully it's helpful to you all too. Quote, "You're who and where you are in life because of what you've said and done. So be here now, not there then. You can tweak your song of life and make it more harmonious, but appreciate the melody." End quote. Thanks for that, Glenn. I kind of agree, and I partially don't agree. I do agree that you are who and where you are because of what you've said and done mostly, but I do think also a lot of people are victims of circumstance, and I think that we can always use those circumstances and take them in stride and do the best that we can. But I don't know that we're always exactly where we are because of exactly what we've done. Some things have happened to us, and I'm not a believer in nothing happens to us and that it all is based on us. I know a lot of people believe that, but I think you're always able to make the best of any horrible situation, but some people have some really, really horrible, traumatic things. So to say that those people are where they are because of who they are, sometimes people really have been dealt a bad hand and they are in the best place that they possibly could be based on the hand they're dealt. Glenn also says, "Be most excellent RJ and rock stars. Cheers to fuck yeah news, love and laughter for us all in each of our days, our weeks, our month, and even our years. Let's go Smets and everyone fighting for today, tomorrow, and more. Hashtag smash cancer all day, every day." Absolutely. Smets is doing really well. I talked to him yesterday. I wanted to see him today. I was supposed to go get lunch with him today, but I'm doing this show. And then I had AfterBuzz intern interviews this morning, and then I have intern interviews for World Girls later this afternoon, and then we've got a World Girls meeting, and then we've got World Girls tonight. So I was unable to do so because of work, but he is doing very well, which makes me incredibly happy. Danny MF in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider says, "I saw the topic and I wanted to chime in, especially because if that is the case, I feel lucky that I don't feel depressed, but maybe a bit weird. I went out to a restaurant with my friends. Everyone is fully vaxxed. We had a great time." Part one. Danny, when I say everybody, of course, I'm so happy if that's not how you feel. But part two, I also feel grateful, lucky, and blessed. Life is tough right now, but it's overall good. Love to the world, fam. Good vibes to you. Also went to a few shops and got myself something nice, mainly manja. Take care. Mainly manja. I thought you were going to say ganja. Oh, manga maybe? Oh, when you say a few shops, you mean comic book shops? Bookshops? What are you talking about? Take care. Much love. Thanks, Danny MF. Really appreciate you. And I'm glad that you're doing okay right now. That makes me really, really happy. Anybody else with any questions, comments, concerns, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider. Put them in. Appreciate y'all. Chris Limchi in the house. What? Been a while, but what up, rock stars? Happy to have you back, my friend. And to all of you guys who are in here live right now, thank you all for being here. So speaking of people being depressed and awkward and some people not being depressed and awkward, when I say everyone, I guess I don't mean everyone. If you're one of those people who's right now like, I'm not depressed and I'm not awkward, then good for fucking you. You made it through this insane year and you feel okay. I mean, that is truly, truly fucking impressive. But for a lot of us, those of us who either have experienced extreme loss this year or are empaths and just the weight of the world feels so heavy that that's on you. Or even if you're not experiencing depression, you're experiencing awkwardness going back into life because you haven't interacted with people in a long time, and work situations are kind of weird and bar situations are kind of weird, and you still don't know whether you should be indoor, outdoor, or the mask situation, and it's hard to read people through the masks and see their facial expressions, and so you're zigging and they're zagging, and you're trying to either date or make new friends or see family that you haven't seen in a long time, and all of it's just a bit awkward. It's not a word that I use very often because very, very rarely in life do I feel awkward, but I feel awkward right now. I do. For example, yesterday, Steph and I had been planning for a long time. We wanted to go to the beach. Long time. We were like, we're going to go to the beach on Saturday. We planned it probably a week in advance, and Steph and I never plan jack shit because we just hang out when we hang out. And so we were like, okay, we're going to go to the beach Saturday. It's going to be amazing. We're going to Dee's going to come if she's feeling up to it because she had been vaxxed, so we didn't know if she's going to be feeling up to it. We're going to have some friends come meet us. We're going to drink on the beach. We're going to walk around. We're going to have the best day. And then the weather was not good. It was 60 degrees in Santa Monica. It was too cold to go to the beach. So we were like, what do we do? And then Steph's car broke down, and so Steph can't drive. And so I was like, let me just come get you, and you'll come here, and then we'll kind of figure it out from here. And so first, just the conversation as we're here, It's like, where do we go? Where do we go? Where does somebody go during this time? What's safe? We're both fully vaxxed and we're both weeks out from having been fully vaxxed. So theoretically, we're supposed to live life again. But are we comfortable going somewhere indoor? Should it be only outdoor? Should we interact with other people? Do you know whether or not how you feel? So we decided to walk to a bar down the street from me to get lunch outside. And we sit down at the table and everybody's at their own individual tables. We order food and there's these two girls behind us who were just hammered and funny, but they were so awkward and they just kept like yelling questions at us, which I was like, maybe they were always like this or maybe not, but they told us they were like, yeah, this is the first time we've left the house in a year and a half or a year and a couple months. And so they kept just like in the middle of our thing, they'd be like, girls, we're going to a barbecue. Do you want to come? And I like turned to Steph and I was like, is that a normal question to ask somebody? Like, we're strangers. We don't even know them. And then she was like, I don't know. I don't know. So it's just awkward bizarreness. You just don't even know how to interact with people. Then the girls were hitting on these two guys and these two guys came over to sit with them. And then they're having that whole conversation about like, have you been vaxxed? I have been vaxxed. Which vax did you get? Oh, you got the J&J. That's the bad one. Like there's all this weirdness. And you don't want to sit with anybody who hasn't been vaccinated. Although technically, I guess it doesn't matter if you've been vaccinated, but it still does. And this was all outdoors, so nobody's wearing masks. And so the whole thing just makes you feel kind of weird, whatever it is. And so there was just several things that were going on there. So Steph and I just decided we were like, should we just play heads up? Like we should play a drinking game. We got a pitcher. The pitcher got us both toasty. I mean, it was like I haven't had a pitcher in fucking. We had a pitcher of tequila, a tequila drink, and I haven't had a pitcher of anything in a fucking long time. So we're like, holy shit. This is a lot. It's just a fucking lot. So we were like, well, what do we do? And these girls keep trying to talk to us. And now they're with these guys and they're trying to talk to us. And I was like, I don't even know that I'm capable of talking to anybody right now. I'm just so awkward. I don't even know what to talk about. So we're like sitting there and she's like, you want to play heads up? I'm like, I really do. We played a heads up for like an hour and we made it a drinking game. It's just the two of us at a bar. Can you play heads up at a bar? I guess so. Is that a normal thing to do? I don't fucking know. Then we come back home and I'm texting with Winston and I'm texting with Kaiser and I'm trying to get them both to go out. But Kaiser is one area. Winston's the other area. Long story short, I'm like, Winston, we're going to come meet you. And then both Steph and I napped, just fell asleep. So not normal behavior, just like not used to going to doing things. So we were both fucking exhausted. Then we finally do go out last night to meet Winston and a bunch of other people. And it was so interesting because so much of the conversation there is surrounding this past year because we're finally like seeing people, and I'm seeing him and it's an outdoor event and whatever. And I'm meeting new people and you don't know whether to shake people's hands. Do you elbow? Do you fist bump? Do you just wave? Do you have to ask, like, what's your comfortability? What is it? And so I'm meeting all of his friends and I want to seem like nice and sweet and cool and not standoffish, but I also don't want to like, I'm usually a hugger. I'm not going to just start hugging random people. I don't know what their deal is. And so the whole thing is just kind of like, I don't know how to read the room anymore. I've lost my ability to read the room. And that puts me in a very strange, just awkward. I don't know what to do. Where are you guys at with all this? Have you seen anybody? Are you going in for the handshake? Are you having conversations about the vaccinations? Do you ask people if they've been vaxxed? Is that an appropriate question to ask a stranger? Are you okay going to indoor bars or indoor restaurants at this point? Are you only okay going outdoor, even if you've been vaccinated? It just kind of feels weird to be indoors. It's just strange. And even at bars now, you're only in the table of your section. Like people aren't just wandering around, except some bars they are. So the whole thing was just very, it was fun as shit to see Winston. And so I'm not saying it wasn't fun, but I'm awkward. And I think that people are awkward too. And you just don't know. It's kind of like a, hey, peace. What's up? You just don't know how to, again, I'm zigging. People are zagging. I think if somebody came up to me and they went to shake my hand, I think I would feel a little weird about that. I don't know why. I've been vaccinated, but I feel like that is like a germ passing thing. So I feel like I'd be more okay with a fist bump, but a fist bump, like, is that even much better? I think it is. I don't know. And I really feel like more it's like a wave situation. Hey, nice to meet you. But is that just so lack of connection? It's very strange. So those were some of the interactions and talking, and I know I'm talking about that depression and the awkwardness. This is more exhibit of the awkwardness. I'll talk about the depression in a minute. But those are some of the awkward things that we're all trying to figure out. Like what do we do? What's socially normal? What's okay? If you see people that you think are cute at a bar, can you go over to them during this time? If you are hanging out with friends, can you hug them? If you are meeting new people, do you shake their hand? All those questions. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer right here in the super chat as well. And then we will talk a little bit about not the awkwardness, but the fucking depression that comes along with it all. Bryce Rat in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, hello, Roxy. Saw the title of today's stream pop up in my notifications and thought I'd say, I hope everything's okay today. I haven't been chiming in as much in the chat or Discord because I've been feeling depressed as shit, but I'm still watching. Dude, I fucking get it. It's so hard when you are depressed and you're alone. And we've just had a year of this shit to like convince yourself to speak and to ask for help. And Bryce, I think you've been so brave and open and honest with all of us in the Discord and here in the chat. And I know how hard it is to be like, this is what's going on. And sometimes it's easier to just stay quiet, but I think it always makes us feel better at the end of the day to have that connection and to say something and to speak up, even when we feel like being silent, because it's more depressing to live in the darkness alone than to let other people in when they can try to bring light. Hopefully that helps a little bit with what you're saying. I appreciate you still watching though. Leonard Kim in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, hey, Dimple Tits, I hope you're doing well, or I suppose as well as possible. Totally. What are your thoughts on the draft? I don't watch college ball, so I don't know enough, but I love the positions that Belichick addressed. The hair looks gorgeous. I think we did a really good job. I'm excited to see what we do. I'm curious to see what happens with Mac Jones and if we're starting Cam, but then we're trying to transition to him, or what that looks like. As I was talking to my brother, he was like, I really don't think you bring in a QB unless you're probably the minimum amount of time that he'll be with us is 4 years. So that's kind of wild too. My dad was really, really excited about the pickup. And yeah, I like what Belichick's addressing too. It was less of a surprising draft than usual for the Patriots. It was more like, oh, this makes fucking sense. So we'll see. We'll see. Can't expect anybody to be Tom Brady, but we will see. Thank you for asking, Leonard Kim. And thanks for complimenting my hair always. In the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, it's April says, hi, I would ask this to you whether you were Jewish or not, by the way. But question. Recently, I was on a flight and asked to move by an Orthodox Jew because he can't sit next to women. I was fine with moving, but others were upset. Would you be upset or understanding? I think it's a fair question. So he must have been Shomer Nagia, which would mean that he cannot touch any woman that is not his wife. And so that is a very, very religious practice by incredibly religious Jews that are Shomer Nagia and are a type of Orthodox. And it's super, super unfamiliar territory for me because I only know one Shomer person, and I really, growing up, I didn't have any friends or know anybody who was like this. But my dad grew up Orthodox. He was not Orthodox where he couldn't touch women because, again, it's a very specific section of being Orthodox Jew. He was Orthodox where he kept kosher and stuff, but if he could touch women, but being Shomer Nagia is a completely different ballgame. I actually write about this in my Hanukkah script. It is, to me, and this is something that I write in the script, I don't love any religion or any background that means that a man cannot touch a woman, because it does personally make me feel less than or kind of weird. But that being said, in 2021, our bigger issue is men touching women unwantedly. That's a way bigger issue than men not touching women. So as far as my problems with things exist, I would certainly rather somebody not want to touch me at all than touch me when I don't want to be touched. Also, it's for their religious purposes. And while I don't agree, or I don't practice that, it is their practice and their religion. So that is their choice. I think that is something that should be figured out probably with the airline instead of asking the women to move once they're on. I would think that you could call in advance and talk about, this is my religious practice. Is there a way to seat me next to a man? And or you have to buy 2 seats. You buy the seat next to you so that you can't put somebody in it. When you are a certain weight, you have to do that. So you have 2 seats so you can fit. And if that's what you have to do to fly, then the onus should be on you and not on the people around you. So that is my thoughts on that. Would I get upset if somebody asked me to move? Absolutely not. Only because it's a request that has nothing to do with me. That has to do with them and their religion and their beliefs. And if they need me to move, would I be like annoyed because I'm moving seats on the plane and that's always kind of annoying? I'd be like, oh, okay. But would I be upset by it? No, because it's nothing to fucking do with me. It's nothing to do with me. That's a them problem and thing. So that's my thoughts on that. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Interesting question, April. Thank you for asking. Anybody else who has questions, comments, concerns about any of the things we're talking about today, or just wants to show their support, which I really appreciate, as long as I can get your support and continue to do this show, then I will do so. Jose Maxwell in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar says, hi, Roxy. How are you and your awkwardness? I got my first vaccine on Thursday, and since Friday, felt nauseous. Even walking makes me feel more nauseous. I know I was so nauseous with mine too. Makes me think people who don't want to get their second shot or their second dose because they don't want to feel sick, just do it. I know. I think a lot of people feel that way. Nobody wants to feel sick. You know, I was talking to some people about this week, some family members, and they are not getting vaccinated. And I'm like, it's just so upsetting. It's just so upsetting. And I don't know how to phrase it in a way that's helpful, but like, when you are young and you are healthy and you are not getting vaccinated right now because you don't want to feel sick for the day, for lack of better words, and I don't know that there are better words, it's selfish. It's a little bit selfish. Unless you have a real medical reason that you should not get the vaccination, which some people do. And if your doctor says to you, you should not get it, then you should not get it. But if your doctor says that you should get it and you don't want to get it because you don't want to feel sick for a day, that's pretty selfish reasoning, at least in my opinion. Going back to the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar, what y'all talking about in here. Just for Ashley says, do you think being afraid to take chances, whether being social, asking questions, or trying some new activity, is like creating your own prison by being safe by not trying or asking at all? Let me try to break this down again. Do you think being afraid to take chances, whether being social, asking questions, so you're afraid to be social or ask questions or try new activities, is like creating your own prison of being safe by not trying or asking at all? Joseph, this is a confusing question, I gotta say, my dude. I think what you're just asking, when you say prison, I don't think you're actually meaning prison. I think you're talking about, do you just think you're screwing yourself? And I think it depends on the person. But I always believe that it's okay to be afraid to do things, but it's cool to do them anyway. Being afraid to do something is not a good reason not to do it. A good reason not to do something is because it's not the right decision for you. So if you're afraid to ask questions and you ask them anyway, I think that is brave and cool. If asking questions is not the right thing to do in that moment and you're not doing it because, it's your boss and they've said you ask too many questions or whatever it is, then it's not the right thing to do. So I think that being afraid is not a good reason to not do something, but not always are those things, being social and asking questions, not always are those the right moves. So if it's fear that's stopping you, then I would nip that in the bud. But if it's because it's not right for you at that time, then I think that that's okay. Hopefully that makes sense, Joseph. Hopefully I answer your question. If you have another one, let me know. Anybody who has one, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. As I get to all of your guys' awesome fucking Streamlabs and questions, much love to everybody who is showing a bit of support today. Glenn Caesar says, Roxy, I was mostly speaking to/for myself and my life, including my life living with CP symptoms, my spiritual life and mental emotional well-being, my living situation, my financial situation, how I interact with friends or not, but I couldn't explain all. No, I totally get it, Glenn. And I love that you have taken ownership of your CP and your symptoms, and you have found a way to make it work for you. And you are in the position you are because of all of your willpower and your ability to fight, even when you've been handed a deck that isn't necessarily fair or easy. And so I love your take on life. I always have. It still, though, was not your choice to get CP. It is your choice how you deal with it, but it's not your choice to get it. And so that can be really challenging for a lot of people, including yourself. I'm sure it's something you battle with all the time. Jake Yakovena says, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. I appreciate that. Jake, you tell the people. Tell all the people. All the depressed people, all the anxious people, or not, or the people who aren't feeling those things. Glenn in the Streamlabs also says, I couldn't explain all of that stuff in just the 255 characters. The Streamlab message, particularly in regards to my beliefs on good luck versus bad luck, why good things happen to bad people, or why some people have tougher lives and or life, karma, reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation, Glenn? I'm curious your thoughts on that. I always think for people who believe in reincarnation, it's such a beautiful life choice to believe in that, because then you get to come back, and past lives is really cool to believe in. I don't believe in that. I wish I did, because I think it would make my journey on this planet this time around much easier and less stressful. But unfortunately, I do not. But I hope that you do. So looking at depression a little bit, the depression angle of all this, because the anxiety and the awkwardness are things that a lot of us have dealt with before. But this kind of deep, dark depression is not new for me, but I know is new for some. And it's weird and it's hard. And we've experienced collective loss, and loss of people and loss of jobs and loss of finances and loss of homes, and just lost this year, a lot of loss. This morning I woke up and found out that Lisa Menounos, which is Maria's mom, who has been battling stage 4 brain cancer, the same exact kind of tumor my mom had, a glioblastoma. She died this morning. And she lived a really, really beautiful life. And I got a call this morning from Kevin, my mentor and Maria's husband, and then saw Maria posted on her Instagram. And it is so hard, because how we've been taught to deal with loss is to get together and be together and grieve together collectively. And it's just so strange during this time where there's still these rules, but people are vaccinated, but there's all these rules about who can be where and how funerals can be and when they can happen and who can go to burials and all this stuff. And so the logistics of everything, the side of that, is just so fucking hard. But also just the way you think about things, it's so hard when you're dealing with loss and everybody else is dealing with loss. I've lost a lot of people this year, people in this community who've taken their own life, people who've died from COVID, people who died from cancer. And you guys have lost a lot of people this year to all of those things and other things as well. Old age and car accidents and all the things that happen that have nothing to do with COVID, but COVID makes it so hard to deal with and grieve. And I just think that depression right now is hitting so hard because there's nowhere to really go and there's no one to really lean on, because it's all of us. The people that we talk to, the me's of the world, your therapists, doctors, everyone is hurting. And so when you are experiencing loss, it's like it's not like this, but sometimes it can feel like get in line. It's you and every fucking other person. And so it's really hard because when we're experiencing loss or pain, we want kind of the floor to be ours for a second. We want to take the spotlight for a second, and not in an attention way, in a, can my people surround me and bring me love and help me out? But when everybody has a spotlight on them at the same time, because everybody's experiencing either depression from not being able to pay their taxes this year, not being able to stay in their home, having a hard time feeding their children, not knowing what they're going to do next with their job, having a divorce, having lost a loved one, um, not being able to have seen your friends or family in over a year, like all of these things, the spotlight is on all of us. And so there's no community this is an incredible community, but there's no group of people to rally around one person where all the people rallying around them are well and the one person is not, because nobody's well right now. And these are very general terms. Some people are well, as we've heard in here, but for the most part, so many of us are just in such a hole right now. It's very hard to take care of yourself, let alone your loved ones. And so I'll remind everybody that even in moments where it feels like you need to be selfish and take care of yourself because you have to put on your own mask before putting on the mask of the person next to you. And that's not a COVID reference, it's an airplane reference. You have to put your own mask on before helping somebody else. The more we can give, the more we can help, the more we can be there for our people, the more they're there for us in return. And so this is not a time to sink into yourself and hide and focus on your own depression and just be in your own place. This is a time to reach out and help other people and feel less isolated and not be an island. And I will say that one of the most selfish things that we can do as humans is help others, because it brings us joy and gives us this serotonin boost that we need and makes us feel like we have a purpose. And as much as it's great to help other people, to help them too, helping others helps yourself. And so on the days that you are feeling extra down and you don't feel like checking on your people or you don't feel like doing anything, I encourage you to do it anyway, because it might be the thing that helps you the most, even when it feels like it's the hardest one to do. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's go into the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, and see what is going on in here. Thank you, Sir Joker 40 for the support. He says, hello, BFFR, aka Sissy, aka Rox Bunny. Just popping in as you requested. I don't think I've had time to be awkward because I never really had a quarantine like yourself. I think your awkwardness is expected because you're basically re-socializing. Yeah, that's true, because you've been going into work and whatnot, Sir Joker. And also you have your wife and your kids, so you've been with people this whole time, and I've been like dead ass alone for a lot of it. So it is a little different, but still there is a awkwardness and a depression. And Sir Joker, I know you've experienced so much loss this year. There's the ones of us there's people who have experienced so much loss. And so the people who aren't awkward are depressed. The people who are depressed are awkward, and everywhere in between. And again, it's just generalization, but that's what I'm seeing and sensing in the world. Hitman Hudson in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, my mother wants to watch Nomadland with me. Have you seen it? If so, is this movie all it's cracked up to be? Also, I have DC Universe Infinite. Are there any specific comic stories that you would recommend? In terms of watching Nomadland with your mom, yes, I have seen it. I thought it was good. I think it's a good movie to watch with your mom. I didn't think it was the best picture of the year, but I did think it was a very solid movie. It's really beautiful to look at too. So worth your time. I have not been reading comic books lately at all, but I really liked all the New 52 run. So maybe go back a little bit. Obviously there's like a bajillion. If you haven't read, I don't know what you've read, but with the Batman coming out, I'm going to be doing some more Batman refreshers, but obviously year one, that's a great place to start as well. So Pink Sweet says, I love Nomadland, cried like a baby. LOL. Really? Nomadland made you cry, Pink Sweet? That's interesting. I really didn't have that reaction at all to it. I don't know if that's which one of us is more in the average on that one. Also in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strag, Glenn Caesar says, yes, Roxy, I do believe in reincarnation. For a while, being raised Catholic, I wasn't sure, but I do. And it leads into a whole separate set of thoughts and feelings to work through and process with regards to me being born with CP. And yes, rest in peace to Lisa Menounos. Yeah, it sucks. I will say that she was really, really a beautiful woman. She was one of those just really considerate, like, kind of feels like was born to be a mom person, where she was just like always willing to invite you to the table and make you just feel really welcome and loved, and was an incredible cook and caretaker, and just a really, really wonderful, loving person. And I'm glad I got to see her again in December for Christmas. My sister and I were able to go over there. And it's a bummer that she's gone. That's not the right word, but you know, I'm really glad that she was on this planet for as long as she was, and really appreciate all of the time that we did get with her. Chris Lemchi says, if you guys watch Price is Right on May 28th, you might notice a certain rock star on it. Chris, are you going to be on The Price is Right? May 28th. What? Can you remind us closer to the date? That's awesome. Andrew Thomas says, hey to the most beautiful Roxy. I start my new job this Tuesday, so I'm really nervous about it, even though I am only a videographer. Happy May. What do you mean only a videographer? That's a huge deal. That's awesome that you are starting that job. And I think it's okay to be nervous. To be honest with you guys, I'm nervous before absolutely everything I do. Everything I do. I get nervous before every audition, before every performance, before every show. I'm always nervous. And I think that keeps me on my toes and it makes me better at what I do. So I always recommend nerves. I think butterflies are a great thing. So good luck and keep us posted. Pink Sweets in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider says, OMG, hey, it's me, your girl. Duh, Pink Sweets. I've dealt with depression since I was 14, been in and out of suicide watch. It comes and goes, but it won't last forever. Hope anyone who feels alone knows they're loved. Thanks for making us feel less alone, Roxy. It's hot of you. LOL, Pink Sweets. My girl. Yeah, it is really sexy to make other people feel less alone. I've struggled with depression my whole life too. Definitely. And actually, interestingly enough, Pink Sweets, I would identify my depression starting at age 14 as well. I think that's when a lot of us start to see the world and feel it. And the more you see the world, the more beauty there is in it. But the more you see the world, the more upsetting things are in it too. And that can be really hard. That can be really hard. And if you are somebody who has a hard time compartmentalizing or seeing sad things and then knowing that they're there, but then taking the good with the bad as well, then it can be really depressing. And also if you have anybody who's dealing with personal trauma, it's a whole different ballgame as well. So I'm with you, Pink Sweets, and I feel you. And you're right that it's not forever. And what the good thing about going in and out of depression is that when you're out, you realize what it is to be happy and fulfilled, and you know that you can get out. And so it reminds you when you are depressed that there is another side, which is hard to remember when you're deep in it. Any other Streamlabs come through as we are getting out of here soon on today's show? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider. Appreciate any and all support you guys can give. It means the world to me. This has been a very strange last month with the support on this show, and I'm really hoping you guys are doing okay. Rooting for you guys and for me as well. Oh my God, is anybody else thinking about taxes? If you are 1099 like me and you're freelance, tax season is a nightmare. If you are W-2'd and your taxes have been taken out throughout the year, it's one thing. But if they have not been taken out and you owe them all one big lump sum at the end of the year, God, it is like the most overwhelming fucking thing to be a freelance sometimes. Just very, very overwhelming. Yeah. So I know that I said that I wanted to talk about some other stuff. I guess I will briefly talk about Tory Lanez and Chris Brown, just because what the fuck? Tory Lanez announced that he's doing a joint album with Chris Brown, and a lot of you guys have heard me talk about Chris Brown before and my dislike for Chris Brown. Pausing on that for a second, saying Steven Summers is saying check the super chats. If I got any other super chats, I'm not seeing them. They must have disappeared. So if you sent me a super chat, please let me know. Steven Summers, I see you. Sorry. I don't know if I feel seen or called out by this title. Love you, Roxy, for always being real. Sorry. Thank you for letting me know you sent that. I hope that you don't feel called out. And I do hope that you feel seen. It's just so fucking many of us. It's so many of us that feel like this. It's so hard when it's just like all of us with this kind of collective woof. And thank you for sending that. Really appreciate you. So going back to Tory Lanez and Chris Brown, you guys have heard me talk about both of them on the show before. A lot of people have said to me, don't you believe people can change, in reference to Chris Brown? While I do believe people can change, I also believe that there is something inherently inside of a man who enjoys beating the living shit out of a woman that is really tough to come back from. But the fact that Chris Brown, if people think he's changed, he's teaming up with Tory Lanez, who just shot a woman in the foot and literally got away with it completely without any ramifications, shows where he is right now. The fact that these two are making an album together shows exactly where both of them are, which is a disgusting fucking place. Tory Lanez shot a woman in the foot. Everybody knows that he shot her. The hospital, he shot her in the fucking foot and is making an album with Chris Brown, who we saw Rihanna's fucking face. The whole thing is like, what the actual fuck? Maybe you guys are perfect for each other, but that is certainly an album I will not be supporting or listening to, even though I think Chris Brown is unbelievably talented. Tory Lanez is fine. But Chris is ridiculously talented. When you are that kind of person, then you don't get my support or my time. And I know that a lot of people can separate the art from the artist. In some situations, I am able to. In these situations, when it comes to the abuse of women, it's just a fuck no from me. A fuck no from me. And the fact that they're doing it together after both of their histories and that there's no ramifications for either of them, especially Tory Lanez recently, he just fucking shot somebody and nothing happened. It's so egregious. It's so egregious. So that. Let me go back into the Streamlabs, see what you guys are talking about in here. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. D-Train says, I've been fully vaccinated for weeks now, and I'm ready to go back to school. I went bowling for my friend's birthday a couple nights ago, and it was one of the best times I've had in months. I feel a lot better mentally than I was 6 months ago. That's awesome, D-Train. Part 2, July 1st is when New York City is expected to fully open, and I'm so fucking ready for it. Let's go. I heard June 15th is when everything is opening in California. June 15th. So we're going to be half a month earlier than you. And then my birthday is July 13th, and it's going to be my 30th, and I have to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. But it sounds like things are going to be open. What that looks like, I have no idea. No idea. Also in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, Joseph Ashley says, I'm more productive as an artist when I'm depressed. Is that weird? I don't think it's weird. I think a lot of artists are more productive when they're depressed. Number one, I think that when you're depressed, a lot of people are able to tap into their emotions, and that creates art. Number two, I think art is such a healthy thing for depression, because when you are depressed and alone, to be able to channel that into creativity, it's so powerful. And any activity when you are depressed, anything that you can do to fill the day is really great. So I don't think that is strange. I think a lot of people feel that way. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure some other people thought that they were the only ones who felt that way. And usually it's a lot of people who feel that way. Stone Fanboy 09 in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, hey, Roxy, hope you're doing well. Thanks for helping us with this rough time and being open with depression. You're the best. Take it easy. As usual, hoping to see you frozen in carbonite in future Star Wars with your cute pose. Thanks, Stone Fanboy. I appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, my depression has been real for the last year. It's been really, really bad. And I've had some really shitty things happen to me. And also a lot of really shitty things have happened to the world. And a lot of shitty things have happened to my loved ones. And I have these great days and I have this great community and I have things to look forward to. And I have an incredible family and a lot of great friends. And I can't deny I'm depressed as shit. And that's just the reality of that's my truth right now. So I'm not going to come on here every single day and have the whole show topic be about depression because it's not helpful to talk about it every single day and not try to find the light. But I do try to talk about it often because it's the truth. And it would be a lie for me to be here with you guys all the time and pretend that I'm okay, because I'm not. And I have okay moments and I'm so proud of myself and I'm so proud of you guys. And I started the World Girls this year. And that is like one of the best things I've ever done in my career. And I have a lot of things that I do well. And I treat people with a lot of kindness and respect and love. And I was supportive and I show up for my friends. Or like, I booked Winston that job and he crushed it. And then I felt so proud and of my ability to help. And, helping anybody with anything just makes me feel fucking good. But I'm still depressed as shit. And that's all true at the same time. So I talk about it because what am I going to do? Come on here and fucking tell you guys I'm fine? I'm not. I'm not. Going into the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. PLD says, daily affirmation, fuck Jake. See you tonight. PLD, you're the best. Thank you for that huge support. That really, really helps. Thank you. Appreciate you. Sorry about the fuck Jake part. Jake and PLD are both coming on the World Girls tonight. Oh, I was going to ask Brandy if she wanted to come on too. Brandy, if you're in here, let me know. But we'll have Jake and PLD on at the same time because they're the dynamic duo we just can't get enough of. Jake in the super chat says, damn it, PLD. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be on tonight. I asked them like an hour ago. I don't know if they responded yet. I think Jake did, but maybe this is PLD's response. So I'm assuming they're going to come on. Brandy, if you're here, let me know if you're free for tonight as well. If not, then we'll get you on later on. That's for our patrons at that tier that they're able to come on. So if you want to join our Patreon, then go to the World Girls Patreon and check out all of our fucking awesome tiers. Our Discord is slamming. Slamming? Who knows? Also in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Danny MF says, FYI, I disagree with your little sister. Your Insta story from last night is not a disaster. LOL. Love and hugs. Can't wait for tonight. And my Instagram story from last night. I came home and I'm just like tipsy as shit. And I just start dancing and recording myself. When I do that, I'm like, oh, rocks. As I'm interviewing interns today, and I'm like, they're probably looking at my Instagram like, this chick's a hot mess. And it's like, well, but I'm also a great person to intern for. So, there is that too. All right, we are getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for showing up, for giving support and love and friendship. And for those of you guys who are depressed or anxious or awkward during this time, I get it. And I feel you. And I relate. And we will get through this together. Remember, and I say this all the time, but I think it is one of the most powerful quotes that there is. The only way out is through. And so through we will go, because that is the only way out of this fire. And yeah. So much love to all of you guys. I hope you've made your bed already today. If you haven't, then go do it after this. Make sure that you put down the toilet seat and the lid. We don't want those flumes, whatever they are. Where the fuck is Rob Fishbeck today? Blow on the internet. Blow on the internet. Is this the first show Rob's missed since he joined us in September? Rob, where are you? Can anybody confirm that Rob's okay? Brett, Miles, Jonathan, arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. All three of them for killing Breonna Taylor. Don't trend with the Holocaust. Not ever, but especially not during Jewish Heritage Month. It's just not a good look. And be kind to yourselves, because this is a really fucking hard time. You guys are saying Rob had a bit of a weekend. Okay, as long as he's okay, though. As long as he's okay. I love the rock stars. When you guys are not here, always want to make sure you're good. So I'm happy to know that you are. All right. Much love to my friends, which is you guys. Stay safe, stay sane. I will see you tonight for World Girl Wind Down this tonight, Sunday evening. And then I'll see you back here tomorrow, live at the Roxy.